Hi guys, welcome to day 5 tutorial for the Node Express. So in this tutorial we are going to learn about joy validation. So what is a joy validation and how we can use it in our request. So joy validation is basically one of the most popular library available to validate the schemas. When I say validate the schema, I mean to say mean suppose if you are creating if you send a request and if you want that request, suppose name is one of the requests and you want the length should be minimum of a name should be minimum 5 and it's a required field, we'll do all our validation using joy. And then we'll be using the post request to create a employee. So we'll be using both in our same example, post request along with joy. So what we'll do is we'll create a post request. In that, once we receive a request, first step is to validate whether my request, post request, is valid or not. Means it's satisfying the minimum required criteria, which can be name should be minimum of 5 or it's a required length or a designation is a required. So we'll do this and we'll covering this post request along with joy validation. So we'll covering both of the examples. So let's get started. So let me go to this. Okay, so last time we ended up app.get with the get request. Now let's start with the post. So I'll create app dot post, and as I mentioned it take two parameters, url and a callback function. And a callback function contains two parameters, which is a request and a response. So as of now we were reading it and from a url. Now we are going to read the request from the body body of the request. So to read it we'll just type request dot body. Okay, so in this way we can read all the means parameters which are coming as a body to us. So before I get started, there one thing that we have to make sure, the middleware we consume this app.use express.json, because everything we are going to send in a body will be in a JSON format where we have defined the keys and the values. So it means the app is going to use the JSON format. So make sure you uh, are using the express.json, app.use express.json. Okay, so now and we I already installed Joy, but to install Joy you just type npm install Joy. Oops, I made something wrong. Yes. To npm install Joy, it will install the all the libraries which are associated with the Joy. uh, okay, so once your application is being Joy is being installed, we can consume in the same fashion as we used in the Express and the Swagger UI Express as well. So I'll consume Joy as well. So Joy's library is available into your app.js. Now once you receive a post request, the first thing step is we have to validate our request first, whether my request is valid or not. Suppose I want to create I want to make sure my name is the required field, my designation is the required field. Okay, so I have to validate that. If suppose they are sending a blank name or a blank designation, it should not accept that. Or if they are sending less than 5, it should not accept that, it should throw a error message. So though just to save the time, I have created these things. So let me go one by one. So uh, let me copy this line and I put it here. So in this I'm doing nothing, means I'm just passing the request dot body. I have created a function validate create employee. So let me create that function as well, validate create employee, and let me put it here. So what this function will do is I pass my request body, which I'll read and send it into validate create employee function. So once it goes here, it will going to validate my schema. So I have created one schema as per the joy. Since this is an object, so I have used joy dot object, and I have passed name as joy dot string. It is a means the type of the name, and the minimum characters that a name should have, it should five, and the same thing I've done it for the designation. Okay, once I've defined this employee schema, I'm going to validate this employee schema versus the request that I received from the client. So how I did it is employee schema dot validate and put the request here, and it returns me the whether it's a valid schema or not. So I'll come to that. Okay, so this is I have created, and once I get and once it's returned it returns me. Okay, let me move this so that I can show you guys. Okay, so I'll type console dot log. I'll type error here. So let's see how it behaves if I do this, or let me also specify the URL. So let's create employee as specified here. Okay, so let's go step by step. So as of now, I just want to validate my schema, which is coming as a request, and then let's see what it gives me if it matches or not. So let me start my server. npm start. Oh, let me type it. Like it got started. I've already created the swagger doc, but I'll go through it. So suppose I pass this D here and and a single character here. Let's see what it does. So if you see here, it gives me this error gives me a value, a error, and all the details of it. Means name length must be 5 characters long, which I specified it here, which is here the default message gives, because it should be minimum of 5 characters. So if you want to extract, if you are aware of destructuring an object, so how we can do is, suppose if I want to get this error, so let me put this in curly braces, and let's see how it comes. So let me restart this, and I execute it back. So it gives me the details of the error, and the message in the error is name length must be at least 5 characters long. So let me do error dot message. So now it's going to print me this only. Let me save this, and let me execute. It prints me name length must be at least 5 characters long. Okay. Okay. So now you guys might have understand how I'm validating my request with the joy validation. So, and if you want to learn more about joy, so go to Google, and if you type joy validation and enter, you will see all the example has been specified here as a document. So right now, since I'm using then object to pass it, so I'm using this one. Suppose if you want to pass an array of objects, so you can use arrays as well. It might be defined, yeah, it's defined here. So go through this document, you can validate all the types that we have, and the boolean value false true. We can, even the regular expression is doable in Enjoy. So it's a very popular library, and it's mostly used by many of the companies to do all the server side validation. So it's a good one. So right now I'm just using the object. So this is where I've used the object one, joy.object. Okay. So yeah, it's doing my validation. Okay. So now let me go to my oops. Okay. If it's error, now right now if it's error, if it's error, it let me send out a response as error.message, which I'm showing up here. And if it's not, then obviously I need to create an employee ID. Since employee ID is auto generated, so what I'm doing up here is I'm just using a max function and passing the data object there, and I'm returning the employee ID, max of employee ID from that. So in this case, the max of employee ID which I have is 5 times 3. Okay, so I'll append plus 1 into it so that every time I'll get a unique employee ID. So now, once I get a unique employee ID, I'll create an object const employee because I'm creating a new employee. And then since my validation is clear, if suppose I have the length of the name is greater than 5 and designate greater than 5, so I request.body.name. When I say request.body.name, it will take this parameter, and request.body.designation, it will take this one. It reads these values of it. It reads key and the value is this. So it reads the value. Okay, and I'm creating a object of it. Now I'm able to create my schema, and I need to push this to an array so that my new employee will be created. So it's very much simple. So since we have a push function in array, so I'll do a data dot push employee. So in the this employee, this list of employee, I will create one more when I send a request. So one more employee will be created. So I save this. Let me remove this one. Okay, and let's see how it works. So let me cancel this CLS npm start, go to the UI and the server doc, sorry, and I execute it back. So it says name must be at least 5 characters long. So let me make name as Britney Spears. SPE. Hope the spelling is right. Let's see. Now it said length, designation length must be at least 5 characters long. So I put this as single. Okay. I get the response back. So it creates me an employee, and since my maximum value is this 5 times 3, I add 1 to it, so it's 4 times 3 and 4 is being added, and a new employee is been created. So this is how your joy validation works. This is how it becomes the life of a developer is very much simplified by using joy. Because if instead of this, if you type like if employee request.body.name.length greater than 5 or this or this, so all these conditions are handled by joy itself here in the schema. So it becomes very easy for us to validate any incoming request which is coming to the server. So yeah, so that's a motive of this tutorial, is to make sure you guys are aware of the joy validation, and this is being highly used in most of the companies. The post request, we covered the examples of it, and we are able to create an employee. So guys, don't get confused between this list, because this this employee is created in memory, it's not being written to a file. Okay, so here if you see Britney Spears, it's created in memory, it's not written to a file. So don't get confused with this. Why I'm saying so, because if I cancel this and run it again, and if I execute get the list of employees, it will always give me this list. It never give me Britney. But if I create Britney, execute, it creates Britney here in memory. And if I run my get employees, get all employees, this, it should give me the Britney as well. You see, the Britney is also being shared because it's in my memory. But if I cancel this, my memory is lost and it will not give me the newly created employee. So don't get confused, it's not written to a file, it's in memory. So this is how you can use a post request along with joy validation, and validate your schema, and read the body of a request. So yeah guys, and that's all for the day. Thanks for your time. Have a nice day. Bye bye.